It is currently 8:28 a.m. What I'm capturing in still images is group stalking and monitoring. These are sex offenders, and the sex offense is embodied in the evidence of what is a molestation of my person, where you are surrounded in the demonic environment, where the demonic imitation of the natural environment is present. So you are repeatedly, systematically subject to what is molestation of your person with that which is not sunlight. And it's also inside of my apartment, as you saw, while the demon possessed crossing path under the light source at 1806 North Alvarado Street at approximately 8:26 a.m. You'll see waste management crossing path, amplification, relevant positioning, criminal presence, monitoring inside of the private space, and engaged in Title 18 criminal conduct. Group stalking right here. All their address is a sample of the people of the state acting through the entity that's using a weed whacker, which is amplified audible activity inside of the private space where the light source is remaining over me at 1806 North Alvarado. And the entity is molesting with engineered light. That's the prosecution for the people and acting via these demons who are using landscaping tools to follow someone. These are demons that are using tools for purposes of stalking with audible activity. That's entirely demonic. It's a prosecution for what is terrorism, while a demon-possessed entity engages in that pattern everywhere that you're going. Also, while the entity is following with the environment, the engineered light is also following. This is prosecution for it. This is the light source, and you saw the engineered light inside of my apartment. Okay, because what we're going to do is there's an even greater context to the prosecution. All 59 units here that are within the property of Alvarado Gardens are going to federal prison. That's impossible light activity. Amplified use of a demon using a weed whacker while your panties are down, that's the sex offense. Amplified use of a weed whacker in relevant position while you're inside of your private space being molested with engineered light, that's the sex offense. Presence and any criminal, that's constructive presence in your private space, that's a sex offense. And that's what I'm capturing in the images. And you're also going to juxtapose that. What you're listening to is impunity, and those sex offenders are going to be prosecuted in that way. Their removal of the minor children with whom the people of the state are residing and maintaining and engaging in this criminal system with, engaging in terrorism. You saw the entity fly over by helicopter. That's the entity that they're engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring with. They're also engaged in what is monitoring in concert with the entity that was acting via Vons on my communication device on the internet. This is not the sun. That's not sunlight. That is audible activity that you're hearing while they are listening to me speak every word. That ongoing determination to engage in group stalking and criminal surveillance is called impunity, and that's speaking for what is enhanced time. The people of the state are going to suffer here. They're going to federal prison. They're also going to suffer because they're going to be federally prosecuted. They will be maintained on the list as group stalkers, and I want to be clear that the minor children are going to be removed from the households of the people of the state engaging in the system. It is currently 8:31 a.m. and this is what I want to get to. You're going to juxtapose this with what I was doing on April 24th, 2022 at the same time when I am nowhere near Los Angeles, outside of my apartment, 1806 number 6, facing the hillside. My ecological address is a matter of what is facts, which can be determined, but the direction that I'm facing, the direction that the light activity is occurring, where it's occurring, all of this is relevant to what is absolutely impossible in every regard, while the light source is in its zenith over me, and I am at the same time on Omnitrans, third-party group stalker, 8:31 a.m., capturing the light source in video. While you're looking at the entity engaging in group stalking via the state, that is Montclair Police. The systematic means, just like you saw waste management, that's systematic state surveillance and on the roads and the highways. And that's exactly what I'm documenting on video when I am in motion on third-party facilitating venue public transportation, Omnitrans, where the light source is in motion as opposed to being stationary, aiming any sunlight down a staircase in Los Angeles while that light source is in motion in the direction that I'm going. This is documentation of 1806 number 5, by the way, 1806 number 4, 1806 number 3. The entity is maintaining a light source stationary through the window of the bus Omnitrans while it is going west on Holt Boulevard into the city of Montclair. And at the intersection, I'm capturing group stalking by the state. This is a demon operating a police vehicle, engaging in the state's pattern of conduct in concert with the people of the state, while the light source is remaining over me here, stationary at the same time. That's capturing the impossible. In addition to that, I'm showing you what is the same entity that engages in a pattern of exercising fictitious authority upon kidnapping, while an entity is engaging in what is criminal summoning by the entity that's group stalking and monitoring you, the sex offender, the stalker, i.e. 1806 number 1, 1806 number 2, under the light source. Building 1806. There's no sun that's going, or any sunlight that's going to result from the sun being over me while I'm on Route 61 at the same time on Holt Boulevard and on Route 61 going westbound toward Montclair, where I get off, by the way, at Starbucks. And the entity is keeping the light source over me for the duration from the beginning to the end of the day. Starbucks engaged in, by the way, criminal summoning upon hostility for being documented, which they are aware of because they're engaged in federal stalking on the venue of the internet, and they're also demons that know everything that you're doing, by the way. That's what you're also learning. But they're nonetheless engaged in state surveillance on the internet with communication devices, and the entity engaged in kidnapping me at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts. That same entity is to date, in 2024, continuing this criminal system, enacting, and while I'm now capturing the specific environment in Los Angeles, California, and this is capturing terrorism in real time. There's no sun that's going to be maintaining this presence through a window of a bus going westbound on Holt Boulevard in the city of Montclair. This is documenting the people of the state at building 1808 North Alvarado Street, apartments number 1 through 6. At the end, all of the people of the state, I'm crossing paths with all of the people of the state, understand how this is a federal prosecution of the people. The entity is maintaining a light source, and that's the prosecution of the people as well. I'll show you this. That's P.O.C. Okay? You know, something else that you know. The Montclair Police Department and the Los Angeles Police Department are not in the same sky space. So there's no sunlight that's going to be hitting me while the entity is crossing path in helicopter. And on April 24th, at the same time, the entity is crossing path in a police vehicle while I'm subject to the pattern of conduct acting in concert with the people. And that's what they're doing, using helicopters and stalking in police vehicles. You're going to remove these demons from their positions. These demons engage in what is kidnapping, and then they exercise fictitious authority in the courts, where the entity is maintaining a light source, as I documented in June 2022, a light source that's going to be over the Rancho Cucamonga Superior Court at 10:30 in the morning and 9:42 in the morning. But you already know, because I've already documented, the entity is maintaining a light source here, and that's the prosecution of an entire state. The demon-possessed police, the demon-possessed sheriff's departments, and the demon-possessed courthouses, where they're monitoring with the people of the state who engage in criminal summoning, who are engaging in what is state surveillance, including on the venue of the internet. This is occurring in the workplace, and that's intolerable. Monitoring you in plain sight while the entity is stalking the helicopter under the light source, fully aware of the pattern of conduct that they are being exposed. That's why they're all going to federal prison. I don't care if they're crooked with a hunch in their back. I don't care if they're on a cane. I don't care if they claim autism. It's the same exact pattern of conduct, and it's legally irrelevant. It's also coming out of the mouth of a highly malicious, demon-possessed third-party group stalker who summons that entity that's stalking you day and night in helicopters and police vehicles, engaging in what is criminal defamation upon kidnapping. All right? They're all going to federal prison here. This is capturing the entity acting via the Montclair Police, which you'll see in video, which I published already, that link, so you can see what I did on that day. And you're going to juxtapose that to what the entity is doing, not only today, but as I've already documented on day to day. And this is what happens when you engage in what is the very foolish act of a demonic imitation of the natural environment, assuming that the target individual is some fool, and that also that the target individual is never going to have a voice, that no one's ever going to hear them. That's malice, and you serve time in federal prison for that level of malice. It is P.O.C.